What is this? New. Managing. Yeah, who cares? Get you guys set up here. Bum, 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 bum. How's everybody tonight? We are going to give this knife a little TLC. Yeah. Get you guys. It's warm. My bald head is shiny and sweaty. Man, another week gone. Another week gone. Goes by so quickly. Let's see. Hopefully my phone don't fall. I got it precariously set up here. All right. So, first off, this handle is looking kind of dull. So I'm gonna give it a little bit of pelican paste. Man, I might actually hit it with some sandpaper. Give it a little quick sanding. Blade show week. Lots. Didn't get near enough stuff done. I'm glad that I'm not exhibiting at Blade Show. My buddy Kyle and all the knife makers are scrambling to finish up their knives. I remember Bill Davis, you know, he would be hustling to get knives show. And he said one time, I think a guy came up to the table and was like, so which ones did you finish with the night before the show? Those are the ones he didn't want. Because, you know, sometimes good enough is good enough. But I don't know. You know, sometimes timelines, crunches are good. Other times, not so much. It's good to have deadlines. Good to have, you know, things that push you to get things done. I know I could use some more timelines. Yeah. How's everybody tonight? Everybody. Yeah. So, you know what? I forgot to look in how to make sure that the comments get left on after I Scott, if you're listening tonight, Scott messaged me and was like, hey, a lot of times I watch your lives after the fact and commenting is turned off. So, note to self, I was going to see about fixing that, but I did not get it done this week. So if my wife is listening, maybe she'll do that. Delegate. This is some 1200 grit. This paper always amazes me. A lot of sandpaper you can fold over and just tear. This stuff is tough. You're not going to just crease it and tear it. Just kind of want to, feels like some of the wood fibers are lifted. Just want to kind of give it a quick little sanding. This here knife was supposed to be one of my limited edition kitchen knives. However, for whatever reason, the pin on the bolster, you could really see the difference where it was at. It didn't pass the inspection. So, there might have been something else wrong with it too. But I ended up just keeping it for one that we use around the house. And I ground it a little different. So, anyways. All right, we're not going to go crazy on this. 9 people, wow. Ooh, Hey, should have a pin in that. So we got just a 1200 grit quicksand, touch it up a little bit. We're gonna put some of this Pelican paste on here. This is the hard paste. This stuff, I like it. I got it last year at the Blade Show. And pretty happy with it. I like the way it smells. Kind of like the way it applies. One thing, when the can sits, I think the top layer kind of oxidizes or something. Kind of gets a film over it that doesn't, like once it does that, it doesn't seem to be the same consistency. But it really helps. It'll kind of darken the wood, but it also helps kind of bring out the figure in the wood. The advantage, I like kind of the natural finishes. I've tried everything. I've tried CA glue, or CA kind of basically super glue finishes. You know, on people that make pins, a lot of times when they're turning it on the lathe, they'll hit it with some CA glue, basically. There's different thicknesses of it. I'm gonna use my shirt. Need a soft rag. But anyways, I really like the way that, because it keeps the figure of the wood. It doesn't discolor the wood. Just nice, clear, hard finish protects it. The problem is it kind of flakes, or it will chip over time. So it's not really, and then the biggest problem for like a knife handle, when you apply that to a pin on a lathe, you end up with a uniform coating, and it's easy to sand. When you try to apply it to a knife handle, you have to put several coats on, and when you try to sand the coats, it's easy to sand through the finish on edges and stuff. So it's very difficult to get a good finish on. It's time consuming, and then it's not perfect. It doesn't last, whatever. This looks kind of dark, but it will kind of darken the grain, but help protect that wood and makes it look nice. So this knife should be fairly sharp. It's not perfect. Need to make a little smaller kitchen knife. This is I believe it's 9 inches. Need to make like an 8-inch. A lot of times, this is a nice size, but a little bit smaller would be nice. All right. What progression shall we go with? Trying to decide what stones I wanted to use tonight. Then I also have this neck knife. This was, it's pretty ugly, but this is one of, I should sand it just for fun. So I got the sandpaper out. Ironwood, this is one, was my wife's knife. And I did some playing around with it and grinding on it, trying to do different stuff in the early days. And just kind of an ugly knife. But ironwood, it's one of my favorite woods. I really love how hard it is, durable it is. Love the figure. I will be on the lookout for some nice wood at the Blade Show. Try to pick me up some. I have quite a bit, but it's kind of my weakness is buying too much handle material. Leave the checkbook at home. Camera's not much up there, but let's see if I can, is anybody, you guys all hear me just fine? Is the audio all right? I should use my microphone. Kind of always forget about it till. This is a Murray Carter design. Originally, I learned how to make knives from Murray Carter, and I really like the shape and the usefulness, the ergonomics of a lot of his designs. So boom. Let's see. My lights. This is a good size knife. Fits in the hand nicely. This is a laminated steel, forged. I forged years ago. It's probably early days. So, might start on this knife, on the Nanawa 1000. Probably should have had this thing soaking up some water. I like to try to find. I can't look too hard. I don't really need to be buying a ton of material, but I like to find some ironwood, mother of pearl. I really like to be able to see. There's some suppliers that I'll buy from online, but you just can't beat picking something up and looking at it in person versus trying to buy something online. You know, a hard thing even with making knives is you want the best pictures of your work possible, but at the same time too, it's kind of a double-edged sword, because if your pictures are flawless, then somebody gets it, it may not look as stunning. You know, that's kind of like diamond rings, right? When you go look for rings, they have all the lighting, all the expensive lighting, and the stage is set. They're all out there, and a mediocre ring looks amazing in the light. Look at a jewelry store and look at all the lighting they have, and you'll see this at Blade Show too. Some of the tables will have just magnificent lighting because they want to show their product off. They want it to look its best. But the thing you got to remember is your customer, when they receive it, they're probably going to be in their house with, whatever lighting they have there. If you're lucky, they're outside on a nice day. And it just really makes the grain of the wood and the figure pop. So in some ways, if you take really nice pictures of your knives, they're not going to look any better than in that picture. So it's almost better if you just have mediocre pictures and your customer gets it and it's like, man, it's even more beautiful in person, you know. So there is that. I still have some of this Japanese steel. One of these days, I want to get the forge fired up and do some more forged knives. But the main thing, I don't know. I don't have a ton on the agenda for Blade Show. There's always things there that I'm like, oh man, I wish I would have made time for this or made time for that. A lot of it, I just like to kind of see what's going on and talk with vendors, talk with customers, and talk to my friends, pick up material, all that kind of stuff. So, oh, I didn't grab it. My wife and I think maybe my daughter also sent me this reel, and I'm sure you may have seen it. It's called Levels of Sharpness, and they do different cut tests. One of them is cutting an avocado with the pit, cutting cucumbers and tomatoes and stuff like that. So I was thinking I need to do some of those videos. It's really kind of funny. I was thinking, you know, in some ways, like you want to come up with your original content and not copy somebody's content. But also, too, there's a little bit of it is like, yeah, I don't know. I have a viral video that the unbelievable carpentry trick that, you know, as soon as it got several million views, people started just copying it. And that happens. But with a sharpness challenge or sharpness test or levels of sharpness, I think it's a little more I think, acceptable to like do that, because in some sense of it, it's a skill, right? Like, so if you ran a running challenge, or, levels of runners where, like I ran a 5K in 30 minutes, or I ran a 5K in 20 minutes. It's not something that somebody can just go out and do if they don't have that skill. So with doing a video kind of showcasing your sharpening ability, it's kind of begs for people to then go and do that themselves. Is that the uh, unbelievable carpentry trick, or is that the sharpness, levels of sharpness? And that's the thing too, is I think it's always good too to kind of go back and tag the original creator. Although sometimes, like, you may think it's the original creator, but it might have been the third or fourth person who copied the idea from somebody else. So, I remember thinking that I think it was the CRKT minimalist was kind of a knockoff of my Genesis design, or their attempt, or whatever. And then kind of going back, they both they actually it came out like just before I released the Genesis or something like that. And that's kind of like the invention of X-ray. Yeah, there's nothing new under the sun. The invention of X-ray, I think, like, there's 3 or 4 different people that invented the X-ray, different parts of the world, all about the same time. And so while it would be easy for one of them to say, oh, he stole my idea, back then, it's not like they had the internet to see and steal people's ideas. I could use some paper towels. So let's check this out. A lot of people get worked up on, like, you start out sharpening and you think, I need all these fancy sharpening stones to get a sharp edge. But really, a 1,000 grit stone can really, once you've established that edge and you take your burr off, there's not much. It'll make it sharper with higher grit stones, but it's a more polished edge. I still have an area there I need to work on. Thanks, buddy. There was something else I was going to get, but I don't remember what. I'll top my water bottle off here. Just, there's not a spigot there. Hey, you can't get none now there. You're going to have to go back to the house. I don't have my sink plumbed in yet. You know what? I'm not going to strop this yet. I'm going to do a little more. Kind of what I thought. It's got a couple spots still that I need to hit. And he took my spray bottle. I know what he did. Did you get that water out of the spring? It's gonna clog up my sprayer. Too fast. There is a we have a spring just out behind the shop. There's a little pond and overflow, but this knife about needs to be thinned out. It's been kind of retired. It looks like it was probably sharpened on a machine. There's a little spot towards the back where they're just slightly lower than the rest of the edge. Wonder when the last time I sharpened this knife was. There's a few knives that I have sold over the years that, like, I wish I still had. In fact, some of these forged knives, I wish I still had. Kind of wish I still had the knife I gave Mike Rowe. It had, it was one of my forged knives, and it had carbon fiber and mother of pearl handle, and I really like that knife. But, you know, you can't keep them all. Let's see if I can show you the bevel. I don't like how the tip is so upswept. I'd like to change the profile a little bit. That bevel looks really wide because the steel's kind of thick. Probably should have took this thing to the diamond stone first. Is anybody in the chat going to go to the blade show? the Fit Farmer dropped a video, what was that, Sunday? Where he stopped out here to visit. If you haven't seen it yet, go give it a watch later. I've known Mike and Lacey for many years. He's been to my last place, and we used to go to he used to be out at Off Grid with Doug and Stacy's event. Always enjoyed seeing them there, like their family. They stopped in, they were at Baker's Creek and stopped in here for a little visit. It's fun to have them and show them the property and give them kind of a tour of the place. Let's check her out. I don't feel like, definitely have some stuff towards the tip that needs worked on. Ooh, that was close. This bevel's so wide because the steel's thicker. A little bit of burr there. That's what I was seeing. Let's see if I can show you guys. Bum, bum, bum. Got a couple facets on there, which isn't a big deal. Trying to find, there was a spot, kind of. Anyways. One of the guy I really like to watch, you know, some would say you shouldn't have multiple facets. And I somewhat agree. I know what you're saying. However, a convex edge or an edge with several facets is going to sometimes perform better because of the fact that it has a convexity to it or multiple bevels. So I've got a knife that a YouTuber, Virtue Vice, sharpened, and he kind of, if he's doing like a bushcraft style knife, he'll have almost like a chisel grind with a convex bevel on one side and more of a flat on the other. And what that does, so like if I'm a right-handed person, I would put the convex on this side of the blade and more of a flat on this side. And then if you're like making feather sticks or carving, it keeps the knife engaged in the cut and not like digging in, but also, see, what is it? It keeps it from like popping out of the cut when you're trying to do something like cut feather sticks. So that's the kind of maybe more advanced sharpening is learning, basic sharpening is just understanding how to raise a burr, create the burr and then remove the burr. And then the further you get into sharpening, you start learning all the different grinds and what applications are better suited for a certain grind versus the other one. I have I've got a really good burr right here on the knife. And then kind of back here towards the heel of the knife, I don't have the burr where I want it. And same out on the tip. It's very common. You'll get a burr in the middle. It takes more work to get them out at the tip and on the edge. And a common mistake I make often is not going aggressive enough out the gate. Probably should have took this to the diamond stone and established the edge. I looked at it quickly and thought, I don't need much work. I was wrong. I was wrong once. Thought I was wrong, but I was mistaken. No. Message was deleted by Roar Tribe. Careful, Roar Tribe. Careful what you say. Oh wait, maybe that was deleting somebody else's view deleted message. That must have been what it was. Have to get the tea later. It's always amazing to me what sometimes people waste their time with commenting on YouTube. It's like you just sit around and look for There was a comment I read earlier this week. I'm like, you took the time to like type that out, and then like you had time to sit here and think about what you're going to say. And you type it out, and you think, hey, I'm going to say this on the internet to the whole world. At any point in time, you could have changed your mind and not said it, but you didn't. And it's like you still can take that comment down, but it's like once you post it, it's out there. I always want to kind of say something, but I typically try to just say something nice and but in the same time say, that was not really necessary. Sometimes comments just get deleted, as they should be. All right, we're going to call it there. I'm going to strop it. It's not perfect. Turn this little microscope on. I'm still not completely happy with the heel. Let's see. Yep, there's the edge. Let's see. Ooh, so pretty. Look, I see maybe 3 facets there. All right, we'll strop it. Strop it, strop it, strop it. This is a leather strop with, I believe, I think this is gunny juice with thought I had written on here that it was like a 6 micron, but I don't see any markings on it, so mystery strop. Man, per day. Let's see. Zoom in a little more. So this little microscope is only like 20 bucks, 30 bucks, less than 30. And I think sometimes they even get more affordable than that. Looks like I still am missing that edge. Need to raise my angle up just slightly. I will strop that some more. See the other side. So hard to tell when the light reflects off the edge. There we go. Look at that. Yeah, still got a little bit of a burr there. So we'll hit her a little more. You know what? Just for giggles too, I'm gonna get out my little itsy bitsy straps. I want to get some bigger straps. Let's see, that's 0.5, 4 microns, 1.5. 10 micron. This is a KNG, not KNG. I can't think of it. Can't think of the company. I have a feeling I'm still holding too low. Maybe not. On the back stroke, need a little hold a little higher. She is hair popping sharp. Let's see. Grabbing the hairs. Sharp, sharp, sharp. It's not even perfect. Needs some work still. But $24 for the microscope. Yep. That sucker's hair popping sharp, and it's not perfect. I could do better. I could do better. But yeah, let's see if I can show you that edge. The side. Should be accidentally cut myself with this. That's probably parts of hair there. Man, maybe I should just carry this sucker. I'm going to go ahead and strop it on the 4 micron and then test this on the best tester. How about that? Where'd everybody go? I lost some people there. That's all right. There's still people here. Got them. I bored them. All right, 4 micron. They missed the best part. Wow. Got the edge there. Man. I can see. Bum, 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 bum. Be cool if I could wire in a microscope that would, while I look at it, you guys could see it. That'd be cool. Actually, I have a microscope. I could probably get to where I could plug it into the computer. I'm not sure if mine, definitely would like to. Do like everybody else. Need a GoFundMe. Buy me a microscope. No. Let's see. See if I can show you that edge. Now you got to remember this is 1,000 grit, so 1,000 grit edge. So that's all the scratches you see there. I didn't take it to 6,000 grit or nothing crazy. 1,000 grit, stropped it. Got rid of the burr, and she is tree topping sharp. And honestly, I like the toothy edge. I don't really, there's sometimes, I don't know, you don't got to get all these stones and do all these grit progressions. Clean off my table here. The old best tester. What's going on? Puerto Rico. Nice. Hey, Joe Mac. We're just sharpening some knives. Sharpened up this knife that I made years ago. It's a Japanese steel. Ironwood handle. It's kind of ugly, but it's probably 17 years old or more. It's got some use on it. Could use a thinning out. Let's see. We're going to give her a test on the old best tester. I sharpened it on 1,000 grit Nanawa stone and stropped it on a 10 micron and a 4 micron strop. And we're going to see what she scores on the old best tester. I don't remember if it was blue, if it was the blue super steel or white super steel. I think it was blue. Originally, I learned from Mr. Murray Carter and got the steel from him. All right, let's see what she does. Should have made a prediction. 108. Not too shabby. 108. I'll take that. See if we can get one under 100. I'm glad I came out here because I'm going to take this. Would have been bad if I would have. I'm going to take all my stuff to the blade show. Sit down in the pit, sharpen knives, and test people's knives. All right, let's test again. A little bit different spot. $131. $131. Should have stayed where I was at. All right. 107. So about 107, 108 about here. Came out to here, it was 130-ish. Whatever I said. Is that a Becker and neck knife? I make knives. It's one I made. It was one of my earlier forge knives. This is the Genesis with some ironwood hand. Ooh, that could have been bad. This is a knife I made years ago. Oh, need to tear it out. Uno mas. $112. So not too shabby. Tree topping sharp, just brushing the hairs, grabbing them and dropping them. That's what I consider sharp. Could spend a little more time and get the heel of the knife and the tip of the knife a little better. I love this profile knife. It's nice. Nice EDC. Lightweight. It's been a while. Anyways, I don't think I'm gonna go ahead and sharpen. This is a kitchen knife that I was gonna touch up, but it's getting late. I gotta get ready for the blade show. Thank you guys for tuning in. We'll see you next Tuesday, and we will do a recap of the blade show, what I pick up there. Probably won't be picking up a whole lot and stuff, so we'll see. Thanks for tuning in. If you would, smash the like button, give me a subscribe if you like this kind of content, and we'll see you next week. My theory is that if you can shave you, you know, that's fair, but I like to say that shaving sharp is just the beginning of sharp, and I like a knife sharp. If it won't shave, it's not sharp. And you know, I see these people, they'll take a knife and they'll be like, you know, pushing down hard and barely cutting hairs, and I'm like, that's pathetic. I like them sharp. I like them to cut without any effort. So it's kind of what I'm kind of like passionate about sharpening. It's I don't know. It's just very gratifying to have a knife cut. I'll never forget, you know, the first time where I really feel like I learned how to sharpen a knife well. When you cut something and you think that I cut a potato, and I thought that I had grabbed a rotten potato because it took zero effort to cut. And when you realize, I guess when you're so used to having to push to cut stuff, and you realize that, hey, a sharp knife requires less effort, it's just, I don't know, something about it. So I like to see how sharp I can get things, and I like to use a knife that's really, really stinking sharp. So a lot of people end up cutting themselves with it because they're not used to having a knife that sharp. So there is that, but I like sharp knives. Anyways, thanks for watching. If you would, smash the like button, give me a subscribe, and we'll see you next week. Thanks for tuning in. This is Patrick with MT Knives. Stay sharp.